Hi, thanks for joining me. In each moment of our life, we have some kind of intention behind an action we're about to take. The intention is usually to make us feel something good about ourselves. And so let's just talk about relationships for a moment. If you have some form of intention in your mind of how you want to feel, so let's say you have had a few relationships and you've had trouble trusting people. So then you get to a point where you have an intention that you have to meet somebody that you can trust. And that's going to be very hard for you to get to that point of trusting somebody else. But what if you meet somebody else who's in exactly the same position and their intention is to meet somebody who they can trust? So when you actually get together and you have a discussion and you talk about your past and they tell you that they've been hurt many times and they have a trust issue, and you say the same thing, I've been hurt many times, I have a trust issue, suddenly you have this comparison with each other where you can understand what they're feeling and they can understand what you're feeling. So then you feel attracted to one another. And in a way, you'll tell a story to yourself of, they can trust me, I wouldn't do that to them. And they'd be thinking the same thing. They can trust me, I wouldn't do that to them. Because you have a similar story that you're telling each other. So that's where the attraction is. It's not where the lesson is. The lessons come from when we have an intention of what we want to feel and we become attracted to somebody else that we know that we're going to get the lesson from that person. You could be a very, very shy person and you attracted to someone who's very, very confident because there is something in your higher self that knows that if you spend time with them, they're going to teach you how to be more confident. You can copy them. You can see how they live. They are also learning how to tone down their confidence and have a bit more humbleness from you. Like there is always some kind of exchange that you're getting from another person. So if you think about, go back in your past and think about different relationships that you have attracted and what your intention was in that moment. What did you need to feel about yourself in that moment? Maybe you needed to feel attractive. Maybe you needed to feel sexy. Maybe you needed to feel like you could be more confident. Maybe you needed to feel like you needed somebody who could take control because you don't like to be the one in control. Think about what the intention is that you needed and then look at the person that you attracted into your life. What did they bring? What lesson did they bring? Are they still bringing to you? Like if you're still in a relationship and you've been in one for many, many years, what are they still bringing to you? Or is it to a point now where you just don't have any intention whatsoever and you're just cruising through on like an autopilot? You're just doing stuff without actually taking the time to see if you do have any intentions anymore. Maybe that's died off. And with some relationships, when you have these two people that come together because they have something, they have a comparison, like, yeah, I know how they feel. Yeah, I know how they feel. Let's get together because we understand each other. We've had similar backgrounds. We understand our emotions. And the intention is that we're going to keep journeying together into the sunset. Because people do watch fantasy movies, which is not real life. Movies are made for entertainment. That's not how real relationships work. But they have this fantasy that they're going to sail off into the sunset for the rest of their lives. During that time of growth, one of the partners can grow, can take lessons and grow and become more confident. And the other one doesn't. What happens when one partner grows and the other one doesn't? Because this partner that's grown is trying to still get something from this partner, but there's nothing. It's like trying to get something out of an empty well. It's just nothing there. So then they start looking in other places to start getting that fulfillment again, and this person's just not doing it. So they just want to leave that person's life, and then they want to find the next level. But sometimes people grow together. Sometimes this person will grow and actually not just want to leave, because there's two things that can happen. When one person grows, they can just walk away from this person, and that's usually where they've tried to lift them up, they've tried to bring them with them, they've tried everything they can, but this person's just not ready. They're just not going to take any of the lessons. And it just gets to that point where you go, you know what, I've just tried so hard to help you, and I can't see you changing anymore. So they leave. Funny thing is, quite often when they leave, this person will then change. For some reason, having them there, it just enables the energy not to shift, but they move away, and then this person changes. Then this person tries to come back into this person's life. Whether or not they want to let them back in or not, that's, entirely up to them. I think a lot of the times, if you've been drained, if you've been really drained by somebody over the years, and then you remove yourself from their life, and then they change and they want to come back, your first thought is they're going to drain me again. Because you get stuck in how they used to be. You don't give time to how they are today. And, you just watch. You can watch people's actions, and then you think to yourself, no, they haven't changed at all, or yes, they have. You can see it for yourself if they've changed or if they haven't changed. They can tell themselves they think they've changed, but when you listen to their words and you watch their actions, they haven't changed at all. But the whole thing is your intention in what you are wanting in that moment is why you are making the decisions. And the other person also has an intention, and your intentions may be totally different. And I was having this talk with somebody the other day about having a child. So let's say you've got a female and a male, they're in a relationship, maybe married, maybe just in a really good relationship, and they decide that they want to have a child together. The intention behind, let's say the female has never really loved herself. The female is always looking for something on the external to fulfill a love inside. She can't love who she is, so she looks for outside things to love. She looks for people to love. She loves animals. She wants to nurture animals. She wants to have lots of babies so she can love something, she can give her love into something external that she can hold on to and look at. So her intention behind wanting to have a child is to give life and hold and give love to that child. The partner, his intention may be from a belief system that families, that couples have to grow old together. They have to get to the age of 80 and still be together and have 6, 7 kids and grandkids come over, and that whole picture of a family unit, that may be important to that partner. So the intention behind him wanting to start a family is to create kind of like a legacy, create another ancestral track, to pass on his children as, part of the legacy. So you've got two people together that want to have a family together, but the intention behind their reasoning is not actually discussed. She might say, let's have a child, I love you, let's have a child together. He might say, I love you, let's have a child together. But the intention behind the deep reason on why they're having that child may be totally different. So if the lady is deciding that she wants children, she wants just a baby. She just wants a baby. She just wants to nurture a baby, and she wants to bring it up. And when the kids get to a certain age where they are teenagers or whatever and they're fending for themselves, she may want other things in life. She doesn't want the long family, live to your an old age with the same partner. that was never her intention. Her intention was just to bring a life into this world. And so her thought changes. So she gets to a certain point in her life where she's like, I don't want to be, you know, a mum, just a mum. Now I want to go off and have a career. And she just changes her whole direction because her intention has changed from what it was. And so the other person is over here confused, like, why does she want to leave? Why does she want to leave and desert her children? Why doesn't she want to keep being a mother? Like, because their intentions in the first place were totally different. Can you see how? Can you look back over different decisions that you've made at a particular time? Just go back to a time where you were making a decision. In the moment of that decision, what was the intention of, what were you trying to feel for yourself? What were you trying to bring into your life? Whether this was a relationship decision, whether this was to have children, whether this was a career decision, a health decision, any kind of decision you were making, what was the intention of what you wanted to feel at that time? Maybe you did get, maybe you got exactly the intention that you wanted. Maybe you got the feeling. Did the feeling last? Because feelings very rarely last. We get the feeling, we experience it for a while, and then we want to try something else. We want a different intention. There's a different, want to go and try something else. And where do we get it? We start looking somewhere else to get the next fix. You know, what's going to make us feel good next? Because we've already felt that, we've experienced that, we know what that feels like. Now let's go and try something else. So I often say you can ask somebody to tell you how they're feeling, and you want to get the truth. They're either going to tell you what they are feeling right in that moment, which is the truth to them right in that moment. In 5 years' time, that truth may not exist. Their truth may be totally different. But in that moment, when they tell you how they feel, they are telling the truth in that moment. They also might be telling you what they think you want to hear, or they might be telling you what they think they need to hear. So it may not be the truth. They may just be telling you something just to satisfy the question that you asked. It's such a tricky thing, because in the moment it could be the truth or it could not be the truth, and then the truth is going to change. The truth changes all the time for us because we change. So if you've been in relationships where you've been hurt, so you went into a relationship where someone physically abused you, mentally abused you, and really made you suffer, and you got out of it. Have you ever asked yourself, what did I do to somebody in a previous life? Because I've asked myself that question. When someone has really physically abused or hurt me, I've asked the deep question of, maybe in a previous life I did that to them. Maybe I really hurt somebody in a previous life. Maybe I raped somebody in a previous life. Maybe I bloody well murdered somebody in a previous life. And my soul decided it needed to repent for the hurt that I had caused somebody else. So my soul has decided to come into this life and feel what I did to them. I'm going to feel it back again. And when I have looked at situations like that in my life, when I have looked at it that way and thought, God, I really hurt somebody in a past life, and I've now felt what it feels like to be on the other end, it brings such a sense of peace. Like, I don't need to hang on to that like I'm a victim. I see it more like, I've got my karma. I got my karma and I understand it. So I don't have to repeat that. I do not have to repeat that because I've come to the conclusion I did that. So if somebody has hurt me in this lifetime, I also can look at what have I learnt about myself? How much stronger am I? How much more confident am I? I look at all the valuable things I learnt from that situation. But then to turn around and look at everybody in my future and say, oh, you can't come into my life because you may hurt me, that is ridiculous, because you're judging everybody in the future as the same as the people in the past. If you've learnt the lessons, you don't need to repeat them. If you haven't learnt the lessons, yeah, you'll meet... If you're meant to learn certain things about yourself, your strength, your resilience, your confidence, your ability to love yourself, if your worth, if you're meant to learn all that stuff and you don't learn it, you'll keep attracting the same people into your life until you do learn it. When you learn it and you go, yes, I'm in a good place, I'm a confident person, then you're going to attract different people into your life. And if you attract somebody into your life that is someone who does go out to hurt people, that's just who they are, that's where they are in their space, you'll see the early signs. You won't spend 20 years with someone and then go, oh, wow, I didn't see that. You'll see it early because you're aware. So, like, why do you judge people that are coming into your future as being exactly the same as the ones in the past? It's like looking at 10 people in a row and saying, no, they've all got to be the same. Everyone has different qualities, and you will draw out different qualities in people depending on where you are at. Depending on what your energy is, how you think, you will find your compatibility in somebody else who's on that same level. So if you move to different levels, if you look for different things, you find different people. I saw this great piece of advice given too about, we have these options when you have two people and you're traveling along and you're growing together, you know, like you're getting wiser, you're getting the lessons, they're getting the lessons, and you're still going together. But then all of a sudden, if this person heals themselves and this person starts to see things wiser and this person just keeps moving up and this one's not, there's an option there of leaving them, just leaving them, or staying up here, staying in their life and allowing them to see how you're operating up here so that they learn and then they come up. Because we do have that option, don't we? We can walk away from people, or we can stay there and persevere and just go, yeah, I think you're going to make it. You know, I think you're going to rise yourself up. But you know, it's always this intention. We are doing everything with an intention to get something back. Just in your day today, what have you done to get something back? To impress somebody else, to get a friendship, to get some love, to get a compliment, to get approval, to feed a feeling inside of you. Even if you're being mean to yourself and bashing yourself up and saying, I'm no good at this and no one loves me, and if you're saying stuff like that, you're still giving yourself something that you need. You're still telling yourself a story with an intention of something that you need. But if you can remember that your intention is only unique to you, and that anybody else that you're dealing with, if in a love situation, making plans with someone, what they want out of this, their intention could be entirely different to your intention. There's probably something you don't actually think of, because we don't talk about stuff like that. You imagine if a woman sat there and said, I really love you and I'd love to have a baby with you. Let's start having a family, because the reason I want to have a child with you is because I don't love myself and I want to give birth to a human being that I can nurture. And then the husband's sitting there saying, well, I want to have a child with you because I love you and I want to be with you till where I'm 85 years old, and I want our children to grow as a family, and I want us to always be together, and I never want anybody to leave. Can you see how the intentions are different? Now, if we actually had that really truthful discussion about what maybe that relationship right there and then would have this eye-opening moment of, oh my God, like they don't want the same as me. They just want a child because they want something to hold. I want a child because I want a legacy. Like they're on different wavelengths, but that discussion is not had. That's too scary a discussion to have, because if we have discussions that are that truthful, that relationship might ended right there and then because they could not, they couldn't get the grasp that somebody else's intention is different to theirs. So yeah, interesting to think about. Whenever you're about to make a decision, just ask yourself, what's the intention behind this? What am I trying to feed for myself? And maybe somebody else that's helping you with whatever plans, their intention is on a totally different wavelength. So thank you again for listening to me.